Hello everybody, long time no speak-a-de-roonies. How's everybody doing? I hope you are doing fine at home. Today we're gonna have a little bit of a different approach than usual. Usually I find some, some interesting decks to play and then, do some gameplay and stuff. But today I actually want to do a little bit of a recap on all of the decks that I currently have and I think are quite viable in the meta. They're interesting to play. So I'm just gonna go through my decks today, telling you a little bit about the decks that I have saved up. Some of them I probably won't even remember, but I'm gonna tell you a few that you can surely try out, and I think this is one of my few videos where you're going to actually see quite a few decks that are definitely worth your while, that you can try and see how they are gonna go. And we're gonna go all the way back to the beginning that I have, because you can see all of my decks are full, so we're gonna go through some of them that I think are pretty good. And I'm just gonna start off with this Modoc deck, and this Modoc deck is definitely still a deck that you can rock in the meta, and you can definitely gain some wins out of it, especially with the Storm variant in there. The Modoc deck with the Storm inside of it is really strong, because you're gonna eventually lock out the lane. You're gonna play Morbius on it or Dracula or something, and it surely most of the time is going to, if you draw into Modoc, is going to be a pretty winnable lane. And then in the end you have tons of swarms in your hand. You have Wolverine that's going to be put onto the board. Dracula is going to copy a high Apocalypse in the end when Modoc destroys everything. So you have tons of synergy in here, especially also added with Nebula and Sunspot. You can win quite a few lanes with it. And I personally think if you place down a Nebula and your opponent is not really going to play much on it, or plays the wrong cards on it, you definitely almost always win that lane. So in general, this Modoc deck is also, by the way, the deck that it was a different variant, but this one is a better variant. This one can get you into Infinite. It got me into 108. I did not have Storm in it, but I think Storm is a much better addition than what it was before. So I think this Modoc is really great for you to, just check out. Then the next deck is How the Gods Kill. By the way, on most of these decks I have videos on the channel, so yeah, probably won't link them because I won't find them anymore because I have so many videos already up. But this one is really interesting because not many people are playing it currently. There's cards in there like Sentry that not many people play. There's cards in there like Magic. I think Destruction decks and Magic is really awesome because you will get that extra round where you can pull off like a really strong turn 6 and 7. And sometimes people don't even see that coming. So it's a really cool card to play, especially, in Destruction decks. You can see what the best play was for turn 6, but then it will actually change to turn 7. That is very nice. It gives you a little bit of a head start towards your enemy. Also Sentry, very interesting, strong card for a 4-cost card, and you can destroy anything that comes with it. This the Void with Venom or whatever, Carnage, anything that gets it out of the way. And in the end you have a very, very strong Null, and you can possibly even lay down a Sabertooth that is going to be free to put out, and potentially even a high Deadpool if you are able to, make the Deadpool grow. So this is really a really interesting deck that I figured out on Snapzone. It wasn't really in the meta tab or anything, but it was a really strong deck, and I think I got from 60 to 70 or something with it back in the day. It's a nice deck, and it's definitely something to look out for. So here's a Thanos deck that I'm actually want to skip for now. If you have Thanos, this is a very interesting Thanos deck to play. But the idea behind it, Thanos is not as strong as it used to be. There was a lot of nerfs coming in and stuff. So I'm just going to go and skip these two here. And I'm going to quickly go into the Doom of... Actually, the Spyro one I'm actually going to show you, because that is more of the better Thanos decks. I mean, people talk about it online that this deck actually got them to Infinite. I personally haven't really tried it that much, but I can see it work. If you play all of the stones and you can use like Valkyrie to give him 3 power and stuff, you can lock out lanes with Spider-Man and Professor X. I think right now this is the meta, locking out people, and it's really strong. Really strong. You have some really great cards in there as well, like Green Goblin, Viper. You can, use the Hood with Viper. It's a classic combination in this game, so I can really give you that forward. Now, another thing that is also another meta deck, which is the Doom Wave. There are some different variants of this, but I think this version of Doom Wave is quite specifically very strong because, again, you're kind of giving the damage towards your opponent with Sandman. That is really strong because, you know, sometimes people will then only be able to play, well, not sometimes, if they don't counter it, they can only play one card in turn 6, which makes you maybe, you know, the better play, especially with Dr. Doom. Dr. Doom is really strong. Wave Doom was always very strong. It's always a very strong deck, but it also gives you a little bit of control feeling to it with Lizard, Mr. Fantastic, especially Shang-Chi. You know, there's some high potential. Also, making Arrow great again. I know she was nerfed into the ground, but she's still kind of okay, and I just love that variant. So it's a nice variant. I do have the Peking deck. I have to see what that was. That was a Mr. Negative deck. That deck was actually good when we had that one location on a hot location. But right now, I don't recommend Mr. Negative decks, although I do come across some of them. And, you know, sometimes they work. Like I said, if Mr. Negative works, it works very great, very well, but it doesn't, most of the time, at least to my knowledge, it doesn't work that great that you have this perfect scenario that you literally are going to get all these free cost cards in your deck and that you're going to make something out of it. This is why Silver Surfer and Brood is in there also to save the day. You can see, even if you don't draw into Mr. Negative, Silver Surfer and Brood, Wolfsbane, Wong, Iron Man, these are all the cards that are definitely still make you win games. This is why I think this Mr. Negative deck is one of the best Mr. Negative decks out there if you want to play Mr. Negative. Again, this variant is awesome. This is why I got it in there. But in general, yeah, it's a really, really, really cool deck. Then I have the Guess Who's Back deck, which is definitely really good for Kitty Pryde. Kitty Pryde is a card that is, you know, it was broken and then it was fixed and then everybody got it for free, which I think was an awesome move from the developers. I thought that was really nice. Probably they did it because they didn't know who had Kitty Pryde anymore and who didn't or something. Maybe that's why they gave it to everybody, but in general, that was, and still is, a very good card. It's a good counter for Nebula, and I built kind of a deck around her. It is a bounce deck, as you can see. We have Mr. Beast, I just wanted to say, what? I was speaking German as well. Mr. Beast is in here as well. We have Forge, Mystique, Agent, Coulson. These are all the cards that work very great with this deck, very much synergy. And what I like about this deck as well is that I got Orca into it because people just they're sleeping on this card because it was bad. Honestly, it wasn't good. It wasn't good, but now it's a pretty solid 6-cost turn card, whatever. It's a really good card, but for that, you shouldn't, you know, have any card, you know, have this as the only card. That is the only downside on it. But like I say, you can make a pretty cool play. So, yeah, that's a nice bounce deck. You can check that out into your bank of knowledge or whatever. Then we have Shuri Zero, which is still really good. Many people are sleeping on Shuri because she also, as far as I believed, she was also nerfed, and people are just not playing her anymore. I remember a time where Shuri Red Skull was like abused like crazy, and now I almost don't see any Shuri at all. Even in the higher ranks like 70, 80, or 80 to 90, I don't see any Shuris currently, so that's interesting. Cosmo again, my biggest nemesis. I keep Cosmoing myself, you know, but I think, especially in this season now, Cosmo is brighter than ever. It's a really interesting deck to follow, and you have some options here as well if you don't draw into Shuri, because Red Skull actually got a buff, so that's really good. It's a nice deck, nice combination, Cosmo Destroyer for example, or, you know, protect your cards with armor and then play Destroyer, whatever, something like that. It's really interesting, really good deck. I highly recommend you checking that out. I actually called this the best deck in Snap, which once upon a time it actually was. It was the good cards deck with Stature. She just recently actually got nerfed, I think a week ago or something. So again, still viable, still very good. I gotta put my webcam just down a little bit. Gotta do them hairs again. Yeah, Stature, really interesting deck. Really good deck in the game. It's a good cards deck. I actually got Ghost into it, so we have a pretty strong Shang-Chi turn. I know it's kind of mind gameable. You know, your opponent might actually see that coming, but not many people do. I think people are sleeping on Ghost as well. I don't see Ghost in any games ever. I think Ghost definitely needs to be more in games, but I think that is also the reason why people don't play Ghost, because people will know that there's either going to be a Shang-Chi, an Enchantress. This deck actually has so much controlling factor. You know, you have Polaris in here, you have Shang-Chi in here, you have Enchantress in there, you have Rock Slide for disruption for the Darkhawk, you have Korg in there as well, so you can generate some power with this Darkhawk and finally win the game. So, still a good deck. I don't think it's the best deck in the game anymore, but still good. Another deck, Sorin Shuri. Another one of these decks where people are sleeping on. I'm gonna tell you, Sorin is an awesome card. Got it actually when it was in pool 5. I drew it in pool 3, which was insane. And there's some there's some great synergy going on with Sorin, Typhoid Mary, Red Skull, Ebony Maw. These are all cards that you're able to use without having any downside whatsoever. Connecting Shuri with Ebony Maw is also something I don't see people use a lot. It's a super strong turn 6. If you have Shuri on turn 6, Ebony Maw, which is going to turn into a 14, that's 16, plus Titania onto the board. Oh man, this is awesome. People are sleeping on this, trust me. This is a great addition to the game. Great addition to make actually Sorin work in this game, in Marvel Snap. So this is a really awesome deck for you to try out. And I have still quite a few more, but I'm going to keep that for a second part of the video because we're already reaching the 11-minute mark, everybody. I'm going to make another part of this tomorrow. I hope you do enjoy this kind of video. I know there's not a lot of gameplay right now, but these are decks that you can try right now and have some fun again in this game. And hopefully that these decks are going to bring you in some wins. If this video is going to get some views, like if it gets a few thousand or something, then I will definitely make it a bit more professional, where I'm going to add a little bit more of a few snippets of gameplay into it. If you would like to see that, would appreciate a thumbs up and a comment. And I will see you in the next video. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed these decks. Tell me in the comment section below what you think of these decks, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.